Welcome to the fourth part of 12 Days of Anime Month. Today, I'll be reviewing A Silent Voice, directed by Yauko Yamada. It's based off the manga series with the same name, which was created by Yoshitoki Otama. Of the movies I've been reviewing, this one's the most accessible, with it being available to watch in its entirety on Netflix. This movie, what a wild roller coaster of emotions. It is at many times hard to watch and at other times beautiful. We see both the worst of humanity and the best of humanity within the span of 2 hours. This film can leave you emotionally drained, but I think the payoff is incredible. Within the movie's opening, we see a teenage boy try to kill himself, only to be stopped by the sound of fireworks. The movie then flashes back, and that boy is now in elementary school. The boy's name is Ishida. A deaf girl named Shoko Nishiyama transfers into his class, and the class is nice to her. At first. They get annoyed by her loud voice, how she doesn't know when to read a page, and the lengthy process of communicating with her. While the entire class distances themselves from her, they don't actively go out of their way to harass her. Ishida, however, does. He mocks her voice, throws rocks at her, and even breaks her hearing aids. She eventually transfers out of school, and the class singles out Ishida for bullying. He becomes an outcast from then until high school, and that's why we see him trying to kill himself at the start of the movie. The movie centers around Ishida and his journey to make amends. When he realizes killing himself isn't the answer, he decides to try to apologize to Shoko, and they end up becoming friends. Ishida's status as an outcast has led him to hate other people, and so everyone he doesn't like has an X on their face. The only people who don't have X's on their faces at the start of the movie are Ishida's family and Nishiyama. But then he intervenes with someone else getting bullied and becomes their friend. That friend's X disappears from their face. In an effort to become a better person, Ishida ends up making new friends from his actions. In these moments, we see that despite doing terrible things, Ishida is able to grow and evolve. The opening of the movie establishes how low he thinks of himself, and this creates pity within the audience. We're able to root for him because we know that he knows he messed up, and his efforts to try to redeem himself help us believe in the idea that people can be redeemed. On the flip side, however, people can be pretty terrible in this movie. With the central theme on bullying, we see it in all directions. Ishida may have bullied Shoko, but the classmates were also really mean. Some girls excluded her from their group, others laughed with Ishida when he bullied her, and Shoko's one true friend got scared of what other people thought of her and stopped hanging out with Shoko. But Ishida ends up taking all the blame. He's the scapegoat for everyone else's guilt. Several other times throughout the movie, we also see people's flaws. Ishida's friend is extremely desperate, a girl's concerned with making herself look amazing and ignores all the bad things she does. And then you have Ueno. Ueno is a girl who also used to bully Shoko, and she hates herself. She hates everyone. You can tell she knows everyone's flaws. But unlike Ishida, she's never called out for being rude, and she's never made an outcast. She also gravitates towards Ishida because Ishida also thinks he is a terrible person, can acknowledge his flaws. So, she ends up taking out her anger on the rest of the world, and that includes Shoko. Shoko plays a key role in the movie, of course, but importantly, she's more than just a stepping stone for Ishida's development. Shoko has her own problems, and especially towards the end, goes on her own journey of growth as well. She struggles to feel self-worth not because she's a bad person, but because everyone else made her feel like a bad person. But when she ends up making the biggest mistake of her life, she realizes she needs to grow, in the same way that Ishida grew for her. The two of them end up growing from each other, which creates a beautiful bond. I want to go a bit more in depth by talking about how the film transfers the role of protagonist, but that requires me talking about the ending. If you haven't seen the movie, then you can use the time code listed above to skip spoilers. Oh my god, the balcony scene. When it seems like Ishida's pushed all his friends away, Shoko feels like it's all her fault. So, she chooses to jump off a balcony. Unlike Ishida, the sounds of fireworks can't snap her back to reality, but Ishida is there for her. He grabs her to try to stop her from jumping and ends up falling instead from the turmoil. Now he's in the hospital. By saving Shoko, he has completed a major step in his journey, but now Shoko needs to learn how to love herself. If she didn't try to jump, Ishida wouldn't have been hurt. Her being herself isn't what made things worse, it was her not loving herself. A Silent Voice is based off a manga, and as a result, some of the plot lines don't feel as fleshed out as they should be. Specifically, a lot of the friends Ishida makes in the movie we don't know that much about. Since this is, however, primarily Ishida and Shoko's movie, it doesn't matter that much in the long run. It's mainly not even a situation where something is, it's good, but it could be better. It feels more like a situation where something is great, but only missing one tiny thing. There is one situation at the end that feels like it probably got more development in the manga, but it's such a minor plot point that it doesn't really matter that much. Besides that, though, Shoko also only mainly gets the last quarter of the movie to develop. Those scenes are fantastic and do a good job of helping her get past her self hatred. But more of those types of scenes could have been better if they were put in earlier on, and they could have served to strengthen the movie further. Besides those minor setbacks, the movie is still fantastic, and the animation certainly helps. Kyoto Animation does a great job bringing all the scenes to life, with varied expressions on each character. In terms of presentation, though, I always remember the music the most. Powerful songs that play during the movie's pivotal emotional moments are so strong and so tear-jerking. I'm convinced that's why this was the first movie to literally make me jump from my seat. A Silent Voice is a film about how humanity can hurt us, but also a film about how we can grow to be better. It's a film where not everyone is perfect all the time. What matters is that they're still able to grow for a better tomorrow. You might have made some huge mistakes in your past. I know I have. But we can all change. Ishida's acts of kindness progressively connect him back to society. The friend Ishida makes helps him see Shoko, and seeing Shoko makes people around Ishida realize that he's more than just a social outcast. They're all small steps to a greater journey. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's something you have to be devoted to work for. But humans can transform into better people because there's always room for forgiveness. That's what A Silent Voice teaches, and that's why I recommend it. Tomorrow. Ah, childhood bliss.